What is up, everybody? It's Sam, and we are back with another episode of Pessimistic FS, the podcast. And I have Donnie on the pod.
Woo, I'm here.
I'm so excited to record with you. As soon as you hit me, I followed you on Instagram, and then as soon as you hit me up about it, I was like, yes, this is perfect.
I think it was so quick because
yeah.
Fun fact about me, I stalk everyone.
Oh, same.
I literally go into detail.
Yeah.
So I clicked and I was like, podcast. Click and then go to your podcast.
I love it.
Oh, she has a podcast. I need to be on so podcast. I'm like, and she needs to be on my podcast.
Yes.
So it was very quick.
No, I love a podcast swap. Yeah, I was thrilled. You're my only other friend in my current Chicago community that I know that has a podcast.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited.
It's my pleasure. And yeah, it was fun chatting with you the other night, and you said that you also started yours in 2020 because same. And I feel like that was so, I was just, bored in my house, desperate to gab.
Same. I was bored. What was the song like? Bored in the house, bored in the house, bored. Yeah. That was me. And me and my best friend were like, oh my God, we love talking. We we'll just have FaceTime calls, and we're like, we should just record this because
the world needs to listen.
Yeah. So we started it together, me and my best friend, since high school, and we literally did a bunch of episodes in 2020, and then life started picking back up again with work and having responsibilities. And then it just kind of got harder to do it as frequently as I think we were doing I would say at least an episode a week, but sometimes 2, sometimes 3, depending on what we're feeling. And then I started working more at a real big boy job.
Totally.
I can't really fit this in my schedule anymore. Yeah. And then I think so I would prefer to do it on a Saturday morning, but then she was only off on Saturday, so she's like, well, I don't want to do it on my only day off. And I'm it's just I prefer to do it when I'm working because I'm free, because she worked overnight. But I'm like, well, I work 9 to 5. So we just had opposite schedules. So it was really hard. And then we stopped, and then we started, and then we stopped, and then we're back.
I think the hardest thing for me too was the consistency. When I first started, well, one, I didn't understand the concept of a season. So I was really trying to commit to weekly and just going. At first, I started recording them alone, and I would not dare listen back to those episodes. I don't even want to know what the fuck I was saying. And they were a little bit more scripted because I had to get my thoughts down before talking to yourself is hard. And, then I started having guests on, and that was really fun, but I had no real direction for the podcast. So it was very open-ended. Which was fine. I can gab, but I feel like it really depended on the other person. And so that took me a while. There were months where I would miss episodes or skip
same. We had literally, I'd be like, we haven't done an episode in 4 months. Yeah, let's do one.
Yeah, totally. So it wasn't until honestly moving here that I feel like my last 2 or 3 seasons have been my first seasons, no skips.
Yeah, that's good. I love that. How long does your season usually last for you?
So I learned that I need a bit of a longer break. So I do 4 months on, 2 months off.
Okay. That's smart.
So I always take off in June and July, which lines up with James and my birthdays too, which I feel like is nice. He can have my producer can have off around his birthday. And then we also take off around the holidays. So it's December and January. I feel like that's just such a busy time anyway.
Yeah, I guess my only off times were on accident.
Totally.
They just kind of lasted longer than we thought they would. But I definitely agree with a schedule will just kind of work itself out.
Yeah.
But then also I think we kind of do our podcast the same, or at least now I do, where if I'm bringing new people on, the chemistry with that person is very dependent on the energy of that episode.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've had a lot of moments where it's not to call anyone out.
Yeah,
but
totally.
Have you had moments where it's I'm interviewing this person and they're not giving me much, and I don't know where to go because they're not giving me much. And you don't want to be mean and not release the episode with them on, but also you're I was kind of bored.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. No, me, I start naming names. No, I think for me too, like I said, that's kind of part of the reason that I even started my Good, Bad, Ugly. It just gave me a little bit of structure.
Yeah, that's
I
smart.
could still keep it loose because I wanted my podcast to be loose. I know that everybody says niche is the thing.
Yeah, we talked about this the other night. Where
Yeah.
Because I was looking up how do you grow podcasts, and like literally the number one thing was like it needs to be specific.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, my podcast is literally not specific at all. I can talk about anything. I feel like, but also I feel like even if it's not niche, if you have like something that's like this is specific to my podcast.
Yeah.
That's smart. And I don't have that. So
yeah.
I do need that.
At this point, mine is kind of just in the branding. Like I started my podcast because James told me I complain too much, which joke's on him because now he has to edit every episode.
And I have to listen to all of it all the time.
So I was like, I could probably channel that into something. But yeah, I mean, I fucking love to complain. I think it's a brilliant invention that humans have made up. And then I was like, I feel like so many people, I didn't want to get cornered into like only having other people on and bitching about things.
Yeah.
Because some people don't like to bitch, which I disagree with. I think bitching is a rite of passage.
I love bitching too. Yeah. That's one of my favorite activities and I'm really good at it, actually.
Yes. But yeah, and then, there are some people who either don't want to talk about themselves or really aren't comfortable getting personal on a platform like this. Or maybe it just doesn't come naturally because it feels like you don't know who's going to listen. So that's like where I was like, okay, if I do a little bit of something structured, and I was inspired by some other podcasts too that I love. I'm similar to you. The ones I listen to are really just like friends chatting.
Yeah, those are the best ones.
It's just like I feel like I'm in the room. I love it.
Because also like they're unstructured but structured. I'm sure they have a structure.
Yeah.
But because they can be so natural with each other, I'm sure they go off script. They might not get to it. Like I don't know if you ever watched Sibling Rivalry, the podcast.
No, I need to now. Need to. Yeah, I love.
It's so fun. I love when they'll have like. This is the one about cats. And I love that they stick to their guns.
Yeah.
But some episodes, they didn't talk about cats at all.
Totally.
But it's the one about cats. And they'll be like, by the way, this episode's supposed to be about cats and we didn't say anything about cats, so sorry. But
I love that.
I'm like, yeah, let's talk about whatever we want to. But
no,
let's make it natural. Like if we don't get to cats, who cares? Like,
well, because I listen to I watch
is that with Trixie and Katya?
And theirs is kind of similar where they usually have like one central theme, but then they ended up just talking about whatever the fuck.
Yeah, those are very random, so I'm sure they get
insane.
very random.
Yeah.
I think one of the ones that I listen to the most often is Lost Culturistas.
Yeah,
with
good.
Matt Rogers and Boy Yang. And then like you were saying, like I guess theirs is probably not really specific at all either, but they have their like staples, like they always ask, which is kind of a funny question, but like what was the culture that made you say culture was for you?
Yeah.
And then they do their I don't think so, honey, at the end of the episode. And like I definitely like I've been trying to like incorporate some games and like seeing which ones work and which ones don't and like all of that, but definitely like trying to find something that's like specific to your typical podcast.
Yeah.
That's gonna put me over the charts.
I think so too. Well, okay, so remind me, when did you start back up since being just you?
So originally, just for context, like I did my podcast with my best friend for pretty much since it started, literally until this year, January 1st, 2025.
Okay, yes.
So that was my first episode by myself. And actually my first episode by myself was with her.
Okay.
Because
how cute.
we we joked about it where I was like, my vision now was to just have friends or whoever wants to be on my podcast on it. We could talk about like something they feel passionate about talking about, because I feel comfortable kind of jumping in wherever.
Totally.
And I have thoughts and opinions about everything, so I'm like I can talk about whatever. But I'm like, if someone else brings the topic, I feel like that they're a little more engaged with that. So like I did a podcast the other day and they wrote a short film, so I felt like, okay, so cool. I know that you wrote the short film, I can ask you questions about the short film, but as much as you want to tell me, that's the context we're gonna get on this film.
Sure.
If you're like,
true.
Oh, how much is that? Yeah, it's just cool. I'm like, great.
Right.
What was your writing process like? Yeah. So I thought it'd be good when I first started with my first guest was to be her, because I was like, well, we can do like an episode about like just you and like what you've been up to, and then kind of transition into like our transition of this podcast is going to be different. And like I joke, I was like, you're fired. that's how I cut it to her. And she was like, I don't care. And we talked about like how it's going to be different, but she's welcome on any other time if she wants to. And then I just kind of hit the ground running with like, I think and I'm sure you kind of experienced this too, a lot of podcasting and getting guests is like you outreaching to people, like you asking.
Absolutely.
Like, I feel like most people aren't gonna come up to you and be like, hey, I have a podcast, I'm gonna be on your podcast. It's gonna be like, hey, I have a podcast. And that's kind of what I've been trying to do, like look at what people are interested in. Like, again, going back to my friend who has a short film, I saw that he was doing a short film. I had questions, I had thoughts. I was like, actually, let me save it for the podcast. Hey, Jay, do you want to come on my podcast? Do you want to talk to me about it? And like, I don't know, I just think if you, at least for me, like my goal is to just find like the little pockets of like interest that people have, and then kind of like exploiting them for myself.
Totally. Let's get you on here. No, I love that. And I feel like it is good to be able to, like, if you show, like, I'm excited about this, I think you could talk about this, you know, that boosts somebody's confidence.
Yeah, also, like, I think my goal is to like just give people, like, not to reference Wicked, but I will.
Please.
I want to hold space for people to talk about the things.
Your finger.
Oh, wait, how do you do it? I want to hold space for people to talk about the things they want to talk about. And I honestly, as someone who does acting, as someone who does singing, if someone ever came up to me like, hey, like, I saw your video that you posted online. How did you start theater? I'd be like, oh my God, like, I would love to talk to you about that, because that sounds amazing. And like, honestly, I've been shooting for the stars, like, not gonna lie. Like, I have been messaging anyone who would listen to me like, hey, do you want to be on my podcast?
Fuck yeah.
And like, surprisingly, I've gotten some good responses back from people who I didn't think would do my podcast. Like, obviously, like right now, like it's just been regular friends, but like the other day I messaged this actor that I saw in Hamilton a few years ago.
That is fucking
and like,
awesome.
I literally said in my message like, hey, I saw you in Hamilton. I thought you were amazing. I'm going to be honest. Like, I'm doing a podcast. It's not paid, but I just want to hold a platform for it to just ask you about how you got to where you are and all of that. I'm shooting for the stars, but like, I really am passionate about just learning more about people. And he responded like, oh my gosh, yes. Like, when are you free? Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And we haven't like scheduled it yet, but I'm like, I want to do more of that. I want people to like,
hey, again, go big or go home.
Like Beyonce, like I'm reaching out to you. Like,
I saw you post your
my goals of people I wanted to have on. Beyonce was one of them.
Well, who else was it? Keke Palmer.
Keke Palmer, which, oh my God,
I'm obsessed with her.
If she were, I haven't messaged her actually, but like if she did, like, cause she has a podcast and her podcast is one of my favorites.
She's so unbelievably funny.
So good, and also like very natural with anyone.
Yeah, she really is.
It's like amazing. Like, I watched the one today with I don't know if I think her name is Marseille, I don't know the last name, but from Blackish.
Oh,
like,
sure.
She did the movie Little with Regina King and Issa Rae, and she, I don't know, it's just like Keke can talk to anybody. The Obamas, like, was someone who I wanted on. Luigi, I wanted him on my podcast as well. Yes. I really want to get the scoop. That's basically, honestly, like you were saying, like, you like to complain. I just like to spill the tea.
Yes.
Like, tell me everything. Literally, there's nothing off limits. And honestly, like, even right now, like, ask me anything.
I love it.
I probably will answer it. Like, I have nothing to hide. Like, I've shared too many details for sure.
No, totally.
I don't know if you ever done where it's like, okay, I'm not gonna say their name.
Yeah.
But like, I'm gonna use like someone, you're Sam. I'm like, I'm gonna say Janet. And then in the middle of the story, like Sam, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Whoops. I said Sam on accident.
Yeah, totally. No, I know it does get dangerous that way. I have also had there was an episode that actually got me into a bunch of trouble when I first started this podcast. I recorded with my best friend, Sophia. And we said a couple of names of people from high school and had James bleep them out. Mm-hmm. And word got around and everyone was trying to guess who we were talking about. Mm-hmm. I remember somebody came up to her at one point and was like, is it so-and-so? And it couldn't have been further from being that person. And Sophia was like, how has this made it this far?
You're like, but the views.
Yeah, right.
But the listens.
Yes.
Please keep spreading it around.
Literally, we're gossiping. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's so funny. Well, okay, I didn't know that you were a theater kid until this weekend, but I love that background for you. How long have you been doing theater things?
So I guess I can tell the story because it's kind of interesting. So in Milwaukee was where I grew up. There was, honestly, in Wisconsin in general, there's one performing arts high school. And
I think I would have gone there. We talked about that this weekend.
You should have. Like, Milwaukee High School of the Arts. But you had to pick a major. So it was theater, writing, like visual art, music, like, and that's like including like music like orchestra or music like vocal.
Sure.
And then dance.
Okay.
So you can choose either one of those 5. And going into high school, I had never done theater before. So like I literally went to that school for writing.
Okay.
Which is so different than what I did.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's like when I was always a kid that had a song in his heart.
I love it.
I just wanted to like perform so bad. And then there's like, I remember like American Idol was something I really was into.
Oh,
just
totally.
the singing aspect. And then like the
Especially
show
in the
Glee
2000s,
came out.
yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I want to be a theater person. But
I
what
was
is
gonna
theater?
actually ask you about Glee because I was
Honestly,
like, I feel like every theater kid has a history with Glee.
Oh my gosh, Glee, favorite show. I will go on record. You can literally, honestly, I should have told you this. The other day, I told my friend, I was like, if you gave me a trivia on Glee, I would fuck that shit up. Like, I'll be so good.
Okay.
Like, hard
I know who to call.
You can go hard, like literally hard mode, and I would do well because I think I know everything. Like,
Totally.
I'm like, oh, that was season 2, episode 7, minute 13 into the show. Like, I can't go second base, but like,
We're getting
episode wise, I
specific.
can probably get specific. Like, especially songs. Like, you can ask me, like, I don't know if you know Glee. You can ask me where a song comes from, and I could probably tell you the episode.
I love that.
And the season.
My parents were super into Glee. I don't think I've watched it all the way through ever, but for some reason there was like a 2-year period where I was exclusively purchasing. It was back when you would like pay $1.29 for a song on iTunes, and I was only buying the Glee versions of songs
Because they're the best ones.
They're so good.
Yeah, I actually did that, but it was on my mom's iTunes account. So I was buying all the Glee songs on my mom's account. And also it was nice because they were full versions, which they weren't doing in the show. So I'm like,
So true.
this exclusive shit.
Yeah, not everybody has this.
Yeah, I am getting the full story.
Totally.
So yeah, I was into Glee, I was into American Idol, but again, I didn't really sing at all. So actually my very first show that I did in high school was called a show called The Wiz.
Okay.
Which is the story of the Wizard of Oz,
Yes.
but like told in like a black way. And I did it because it's my mom's favorite movie growing up, so we watched it so many times. So I felt super familiar. But because I went to performing arts high school, it was not easy to get into the musical.
Sure.
So like I remember wanting to be in it, but I'm like, but I have to audition.
Yeah.
Like that sounds scary. And
Scary.
I never sang in front of people. Like I've done some singing like in like a kids choir, but like again, we're all singing in unison. We're like One Direction. Like everyone, there's no harmonies.
It's a boy band.
There might be a solo here and there, but
Sure.
like, and those are no wrecking. But like, I don't know, theater is different. Like it's like I don't know. I think in that way, like I could tell, like as a kid, like no one's judging me.
Sure.
But in theater, everyone is actually judging you.
All
like,
eyes are on
including
you.
me. Like if I go see a show, I'm judging you. So at the time, I signed up to audition, and then I found out that because we go to a performing arts high school, and most of the people who did the theater shows were theater and vocal majors, that the auditions took place in front of everyone. Like you got in a room and
Scary.
everyone's sitting around, and they're like, number 5, come up, you sing your song. They tell you if you're gonna call back right in front of you, and that's it. So it was very,
Cutthroat.
very intimidating.
Yeah.
And I remember walking in the room, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I got the confidence. I like built myself up, and like I drew a number, and I think it was like number 16, which I'm like, that's a little high, but you know, it's okay. Like whatever. Like at least 15 people will go before me, so I'm good. So like they teach us the audition song because everyone's singing the same song too, which is fucking even more nerve wracking because everyone's comparing you to everyone.
Totally.
And then they're like, okay, like we're right after, like everyone could take a little short break, and then we'll get started. We're gonna start with number 16. I'm like, I like legitimately, I think I had a heart attack, and I'm like, oh my god, like I can't do this. Like I remember like getting up like on that break, taking my number off, ripping it up, throwing it in the trash. I'm like, I literally cannot do this. And then actually one of my friends who like not recently passed away, but like passed away since then. Like I remember him being like, dude, come on, you got this. Like you can do it. I've heard you sing. I think you sound fine.
That's
like
so sweet.
just do it. Like literally, what's the worst that can happen? So I'm like, okay, fine. Like I was like, okay, out. So I got up, I sang my song, and I got called back. So like they sent me to another room. We had to do like a little dance call, which I was not good at. I'm not a good dancer. But then
you like had to learn a choreographed dance?
Yeah, that day.
Oh my god.
So like I said, I went to performing arts school or boot camp. Like it's like literally they're like, you're gonna fucking work to be in this show. Yeah. And like it was hard, and it wasn't an easy dance. It was the full number of the biggest show.
That's crazy.
It was like hard. And then after that, they took you to another room where then you did acting. Mm-hmm. So then you had to learn the scenes and all of that. So I like, again, like as someone who is timid, like the role that they saw me as was the lion, like the coward lion. So like really was working for me, like my timidness, like
so
because they're like, okay, like we could work with this. Mm-hmm. And I legitimately remember like the director being like, hey, like, can you stay later? Like, I think we like you. We want to keep seeing you. And I'm like, I don't think my mom will like this. Like, I think I need to go home. Like, I have to take the bus home. And like, he's like, I will drive you home. So I'm like, oh,
okay.
I think he likes me. Like, I think I'm gonna be in this show. So like, I legitimately remember being there like 8 people left. So the cast is like Dorothy, the Lion, the Tin Man, and Scarecrow. So 8 people left, 1 for each row. So I'm like, I think I'm gonna at least be in contention for this role. So I was very excited. And then what ended up happening is that I got the understudy for the role. Mm-hmm. And the guy was honestly probably the better role because he was more funny. I was timid. I was method acting.
Sure,
but like he was like timid in like a funny way, which is probably better for a musical. But after that, like I remember like taking that and being like, okay, I did it.
Mm-hmm. Had my first taste.
Yeah, I did my first taste. I was understudy. There was some drama in that show, like with like the guy who played the lion quit, and then they actually didn't even ask me. They just brought someone else.
Oh.
And it was so stupid. But I was in like most of the shows and all the scenes. Like it was really fun. And like I remember being like, that was a fun experience to just kind of detach from like who I am and just like the ensemble aspect and everything. And that was the only show I did in high school at all.
Okay.
Like that show my junior year, I did it and it was fun. And then when I went to college, I was a pre-med major, believe it or not.
Oh, crazy.
And I had interest in doing theater. And I was like, okay, I will at least want to do one show while I'm here. So I ended up auditioning for the musical at my college that year. I did get into just an ensemble. And it was really awesome. And I'm like, okay, like I did that too. So like I did that, I did this. And then after that, I think I just started to get a little more confident in like my singing ability.
Yeah.
Because I think at the time I didn't think I was a good singer. But as I did more and more stuff, like I'm like, okay, I think I was like, not even me. I think other people think I can sing.
Sure.
Which I think is like better. Like, I mean, as one person. All we have to
do is convince them.
Yeah, convince them. And then that's it. Like I cannot, because we're our worst critics. So like,
totally.
I don't have to be good to myself. But like, if I'm good to other people, that's like reassuring. So like, so I started taking voice lessons at my college as well. And then sorry, this is such a long-winded story.
No, I love it.
Like so I did maybe a year and a half with her, like off and on. And like we had did another musical and I got even a bigger role. So I was feeling myself really. But like the moment that kind of like solidified to me where I was like, okay, I think if I want to like do this, I can do it. And I have all the tools that I need to do it. Was that, so like my teacher at the time, my voice teacher, she was a part of this association. It was called the National Association of Teachers of Singing.
Okay.
And it's just called NATS. But
naturally.
because she was in that, she could submit her students to like basically join this competition, singing competition, where students from all around Wisconsin, I think more specifically, like, which is funny because it's called the National, but Wisconsin at least starting, you came to like a college. And basically, like, it was like a singing competition. You literally got on stage, you sang. I think they gave you 8 minutes, and you can pick as many songs. I think it was 3 songs or 8 minutes.
Okay.
So, like, you can pick 3 songs, but you have 8 minutes to sing them. If it, like, say, for instance, like, if you pick 3 songs and a little longer than 8 minutes, they'll cut you off.
Okay.
Which is fine. Like, when I went, I was like, okay. So it
essentially is American Idol.
Basically American Idol. So I went and I like picked songs that I felt like I was good at for sure. And like I remember watching everyone because like you were there all day. Like you didn't have to, but like it was nice to like. And they also categorized it too. I should say like tenors, baritones, sopranos. Yes. Like I think there was even like some older categories too. So you weren't competing against everyone, just
Sure.
people in your category. So I got up and I sang my 3 songs. I'll say them just because I'm familiar. I sang Younger Than Springtime from South Pacific. I don't know if you know that one. I sang Being Alive from Company.
Oh, I love
and then
it.
I sang a song from Kinky Boots called Hold Me in Your Heart. So it's
Oh,
my 3
amazing.
songs. And
Wait, what category are you?
Tenor.
Okay.
So I got cut off in the middle of Hold Me in Your Heart, but I did get all 3 songs.
Okay.
And I remember being like, I don't know, I couldn't always tell if I do well at a performance. Every singer or performer knows, I was on today, I was off today, but that day I was like, I don't know. It feels like your skin is Edward Cullen and Twilight. That's how it feels when you're fucking killing it. You feel like a vampire glistening.
Totally.
Everyone's looking at you.
Voices sparkle.
You can see people looking at you. So I felt like that when I was performing, and they scored you too. So that was also the hard part. You got a score.
Immediate feedback.
It wasn't like you got, oh, you're in. At the end, it's kind of like, I don't know if you've seen a cheerleading competition on Bring It On, where it's you don't get oh, you're in. They're not telling you verbally. It's 2 hours later they come with a list, put it on the wall, and walk away. So that's kind of how it was.
Sure.
So I went and I sang my songs, thought I did great. People in the room seemed to respond well. Again, I don't know how they're gonna score me. I know that listening to everyone else, I felt amateur a little bit. I'm these people have been studying singing for years. I can tell, and I've been singing for 1 year.
Yeah.
I've had what school year is not even half of, I don't know. I probably had 50 voice lessons at that point with one teacher, and that's it. And when I got my score back, I think this was the moment where I was like, okay, I think I got it. I got my score back, and it was rounds. So the first round was just general. Second round was semifinals. Final round was finals. And I got a 99 out of 100.
Oh my God. Wait, Donnie, that's amazing.
And I was holy. I remember being and they're hey, this is the highest score that anyone got. So we're just going to move you to the finals.
That's great.
Great. Oh my gosh.
Fast track.
So I remember telling my teacher, I was oh my, and she was what did you learn? Cause obviously it's a learning experience. And to finish the story, I the next day, the finals were the next day, I woke up, did not have a voice.
No.
Which is so funny. Didn't have a voice.
Oh, classic.
But I was I tried to scrape myself together anyway. I ended up getting 3rd place. I think I would have got first if I could blow the way that I wanted to. I would have got first place, because one thing that I did notice, and it's something I've taken with me since then, even whatever capacity I sing in, is that I don't have to compare myself to other people.
Yeah.
I think it's easy, especially in an environment like that, to be I don't sing like that. I don't do this. I haven't had this much training. But what I learned is that you know what? I don't have to sing like them. I sing like me.
You have your own
and
unique
they can't
voice.
sing like me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember being that's my superpower. I can just hone in on what I'm good at. And then I think that's half of the battle. And if you think about all the theater or even movie stars, they all have a signature sound, or
Totally.
everyone, no one really sounds the same. Or you might get some carbon copies, but in general, a lot of people love people for their individuality.
Yeah.
And that's just something I took with me. If I'm just myself, I think I'll get a lot further than trying to be someone else. So that's kind of that clicked for me, and that's where I'm okay, I could do theater. And that was before I was telling you with the we talked about this earlier before the podcast, but with the callback for Broadway and all these shows, that was before. And I whenever walking into a room now, I'm I don't know who you've seen before, but you haven't seen me yet.
Yes.
That's kind of my
I love that.
That's kind of my attitude, which I think you need to be a little conceited to be an actor.
No, I think so too. I think any profession or even creative endeavor where you're putting yourself out there, if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to.
What does RuPaul say? If you can't love yourself, how the hell are you gonna love somebody else?
Exactly.
Or how the hell is somebody else gonna love you?
you?
Yeah, you can't do that.
No.
So it's honestly, I always tell that story to anyone who asks me about theater, just to kind of remind myself, and just to tell people literally just especially actors of color, I think it's so much pressure to try to look like something or be like something, but
sure.
people, if you're just yourself, honestly, you're gonna love the people who love you for that.
Yeah.
And then people who don't, like, I don't want to work at a company like who I go to and they're like, I mean, I've done it before where like I've done a show and my director's like, Donnie, you don't sound urban enough. Can you do this? And I'm like, no.
No,
like, I can't sing like that.
I can't.
Me. Yeah. And like I remember like
gonna fit into this box.
Standing up to her and being like, hey, like I understand you want me to sing this way, but I don't sing that way, and I can't do it. So like I don't know why you cast me for this role if you want me to sing this way because I can't. And I remember being like, this is the way I want to sing it, is showing her and her being like, I like that better. I'm like, great. Cool.
That's
like
great.
I'm just here to change people's minds. Like you might have a conception of what you might want, but like
I'll show you something better.
I'll show you something better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think that's also good too. Just like, sticking up for yourself in those situations is major.
Mm-hmm.
No, I love that. I think that's so cool. I love theater kids. I think, I don't know. I wasn't a theater kid myself. Obviously, I love to have a microphone in my hand.
Yeah.
So there's something there.
Mm-hmm. Talk show host.
Yes. Yes. But yeah, I think I find confidence to just be such like an awesome quality in another person.
Yeah.
Especially when you're confident, but you're authentic.
Yeah.
I think have mastered that.
I feel like that's like the thing that I've mastered, authenticity.
Yeah.
Like confidence, like it comes and goes. Like sometimes you feel more confident in others. Like again, I can tell you if I walked in a room. It's actually why I miss the act of like a lot of people would do in-person auditions before the pandemic.
Sure.
I miss that because I think when you walk in an audition, I literally, by everyone's faces, by the energy, you can tell if you did good or bad. Like right off the back. But like videos, like I record that 60 times. I don't know. Like I sent it in. Like I don't know how they feel. I can't see them. I also don't have the adrenaline from like being in the room with people.
So true.
So like just being authentic, I think is like the way to go. Because confidence, like it's natural. You're human, so like it's gonna come and go.
Yeah. Right. I guess true to yourself is more
true to yourself. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's okay. I think it's so awesome that that's how you met Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Adam has lived 1,000 lives.
So many. Every time I talk to anyone about theater, they're like, wait, Adam?
He is. Like, I did not know that about him.
Yeah.
And now it makes sense. Like, now that I've gotten to know him over the last year or so, I'm like, okay.
He has when I met Adam, who's my friend, my roommate too, he had long hair.
Yes.
Like,
I saw some of those
all
photos.
The way down to here. He was like this, like, very interesting, like, honestly, like, very clean cut now than what he was, like, very rugged.
Sure.
He, in the show that we did together, he was in the ensemble, but also the understudy for the, like, lead role.
Yeah.
And then we got to do an understudy show, so he got to go on for the lead role. And I was actually lucky, like, back then I was like, this is not fair. I don't have an understudy, so I have to do the understudy show.
Sure.
Like I'm lucky that I got to perform with him because not a lot of people did.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was just honestly like Adam, believe it or not, I guess that sounds mean, believe it or not. But like Adam was like one of the most talented people I know. Like and once you kind of unlock that part of him. But,
I love that.
You know, he lives so many lives, you never know.
Oh my gosh, totally.
Mm-hmm. He does everything.
He's fascinating to me. Well, and I love how Italian he is. His job, I'm like, you have to be in the mob. There's no way you're not in the mob.
Has to be in the mob.
Yeah.
Well, actually, like, it's so funny because I knew him before that job. It was like, yeah, this job has kind of changed him a little bit. Like, he's kind of, like, he's not Adam, he's Adamo now.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. No, he cracks me up.
Mm-hmm.
Never beating those mob allegations.
He's not. I can't confirm or deny.
Yeah, right. His secret is safe with us. But no, back to Glee. I do have a question for you. Did we ever confirm if Lea Michelle can read? I know that was circulating for a while.
I did send her an email, but she never responded. So that means that she probably couldn't read it. Just in the back.
Obviously, she would have responded if she could have.
Something nerdy that I guess I can share too is that so Lea Michelle is problematic. I will say that out loud. Camera. Yeah. She's problematic. I get it. You see
her for who she is.
I do. But the bitch is talented.
Oh, 100%.
Like I have to say, something about her that has always captivated me. Always. Mm-hmm. So like in Glee, she was my favorite. And I don't know, like when I found out she was doing a show on Broadway, I was like, I think I have to go. I think I have to see it. And I know people are gonna be not happy about
Totally,
that. But I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna see it, and I'm gonna spend my money the way I'm gonna spend my money the way I fucking want to.
Yes.
So I made it my duty to go see her in Funny Girl, and the tickets for the opening night were booked. Obviously, like she's so popular. But I'll tell you my like obsession. I was like, okay, so I got tickets to her second show, which was the next day matinee.
Okay.
But I'm like, I still need to be there after this first show.
Yeah.
So
I
went outside the theater and I stood there until the end of the show. So I could stage her when she came out. And she did come out, and it was so fucking amazing. I got a picture with her. It's not like I will say I got a picture with her in it. Not with her, but like she's in it and I'm in it. And I actually got her signature as well. So like it was a success, and like literally the energy and outside, like filling the street for her was like palpable. And then also watching her in the show the next day, like legitimately, and I've seen a lot of shows. I can't say anything has topped that since then.
I love that.
Yeah, hasn't topped her yet. Like maybe there's something soon, but like she was fucking stunning. And I'm the harshest critic. I'm the harshest critic. I shit you not. Like I've seen some live performances of hers, and I'm like,
sure.
I don't know if that's my favorite vocal, but I have to say, seeing her in the room live, and I guess fun fact about me, I record every show that I see on my phone.
Oh, I love
on
that.
voice memos, so I can go back and listen to it. No, out of place. I've listened to it hundreds of times. Nothing. It's pristine.
No, that's good. I wish I would have seen it. I love Funny Girl.
Yeah, she honestly, like, I love Funny Girl too. The show's a little outdated. The movie's a little outdated.
Totally.
I think it's right. A lot of people don't do it anymore. So I think script wise, it could have been better. But like her, like I didn't need a better script. She was fucking amazing. Totally. I will watch her sing.
Carried the
literally
show.
just stand on stage and sing. I'm good.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting to me too. I mean, I feel like Glee, it has such a strong fan base. Although the show is like low key cursed.
Yeah. Everyone's
is
dying.
Falling to tragedy.
Yeah.
It's
kind of sad. I will say, like, it's like one of those things where, like, I guess, like, if you think about it from like a life perspective, at least that's kind of how I've been contextualizing it. Like, because I like have experienced like loss before, like a friend's, I'm like, I know that it happens, and just in this case, it just happened to people that we're watching.
Yeah.
Because like I mean, I think about my high school class. Like, there's been multiple people who passed away from that. And like, I guess in the same shows, like I cast the people. I mean, life happens, and like it's kind of weird that they all have like these extreme circumstances.
I know.
But like, yeah, it's like out of their 12-person cast, like 3 of them have like passed away. Like, tragically.
It's crazy.
It's wild. It's a little crazy.
But yeah, like you said, I mean, it is life. Things happen.
Yeah. It does suck though. Like Naya Rivera, that one hit me.
Oh, I know.
Hit me hard.
That one was really sad.
I mean, Corey Monteith, I actually did cry.
Yeah.
But I was also 16.
Yeah.
But
totally.
the Naya Rivera one, I like that one was like, wow. Like I did not expect that. Like it was not good.
Yeah.
Not a good time. But they actually have a podcast that I listen to.
Oh yeah.
It's called That's What You Missed.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, but that show, I mean, it made its cultural mark for sure.
It's honestly still cooking. Like I have rewatched the first 3 seasons of Glee probably more times than I can count.
I might need to go back to it.
Yeah,
watch
honestly,
it all the way through.
Start from season 1. I would say like if you're in the mood, you can watch season 4 through 6.
Yeah.
But 1 through 3 is like really like
right.
That's the prime time. Yeah. Prime
Absolutely.
Time.
Okay, well I want to get into your good, bad, ugly.
Good, bad, ugly. So I was like, I actually had to look before we started. I was like, what did I even think about again?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would say also, if I'm doing it wrong, please stop me.
No.
Redirect me. So my good, something good. Actually we talked about it before. I think genuine authenticity.
I love it.
Is that how you say that word? Just like being yourself. I think like one thing that I'm like trying to focus on right now is like dating. Honestly, if you're single out there and
yes,
want to date someone, I'm available.
I love it.
But I think one thing that I'm learning is that like I am not really attracted to people who just aren't themselves.
Yeah.
So like, and it's like that can be in anything, and I do realize that. But I just think like if I can feel who you are just from, And I think that takes meeting you and like getting to know you for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want someone who's like pretending to be someone else. I don't want someone who can't like just communicate what they're feeling and like. And I'm working on this too. Like also, it's not that I'm even perfect at being authentic, but I think my goal and my intention is to always like, how do I like? I wake up like, how do I be more authentic today?
Yeah.
Like, what can I do? What can I say? How can I approach this as me?
Mm-hmm.
And like, even like, my therapist put it really good one day because I was always apologizing for having a lot of feelings.
Sure.
And
specifically
honestly,
to your therapist?
Not to my therapist,
or
but
just...
like, well, I think to myself.
Okay.
So like, I will like, oh, you know what? Like, Sam, she didn't mean to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to share this with her because, you know, it's not a big deal. And my therapist actually said one day, she was like, because she's like, so why don't you tell this person that they stepped on your foot and it hurt? I was like, well, I don't want them to seem like, I want to seem like I'm sensitive.
Sure.
And she's like, but you are sensitive.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
so
oh, read me.
Totally.
And I was like, oh, I guess you're right. She's like, but it's not a bad thing. Like being sensitive is not negative, but what's not great is like, you're not sharing your feelings with the people
like
around
who
you who you trust.
Yeah.
And she's like, and that's like something I want you to kind of get past because, you know, like, if Sam stepped on your foot and it hurt you, in the moment you guys could have just moved past it, but now you've like distanced yourself from her. You've kind of made space. Now it's like,
on your foot.
yeah, and it's like, but it could have been talked about and moved on from. And she's like, just resolving things like that in life feel like they will help you just move on a little bit quicker and like be more. I don't want to say like authentic because it's not. I guess that's not the word I'm approaching, but you kind of like being more open to being who you are shows people who you are. So then Sam knows like, you know what? Donnie doesn't like his foot to be stepped on. So I'm not going to do it anymore.
Totally.
Like, so that's my good. Just being authentic and like I said, like, especially in dating, like that's something I'm really like looking for. So again, if you're authentic out there and single, and, like gay men, honestly.
Straight up. No, I agree. I think authenticity is something that I've grown to value more as I've gotten older. Mm-hmm. And I think I feel so much more comfortable being myself at the big age of 28.
Yeah.
Which is something I'm so grateful for. I think that is hands down my favorite part about growing up is just like really falling into who I am.
Yeah, you learn yourself.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And so that's like awesome. And I have grown to love that so much. I think it's been so fun doing that exploration. But you always can tell if somebody hasn't done that yet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know?
Like it sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yes.
And also I don't think it's your job to, like, I can't go on that journey for you.
No.
Like I can't do it for you.
Yeah.
If you can tell if someone's, even if like, and I always say like, it's not that I need someone to be at the same level. I mean, it's just to be willing to kind of get there.
Do the work.
Yeah, do the work. And if you're not willing to do the work, I can't do that for you.
Yeah.
Also, like, honestly, I think I'm past like wanting you to do the work, like trying to convince you.
No, you need to want it.
You need to want it. You need to do it for yourself.
100%.
And then let's come back to me when you got some sense.
Well, I know you were also talking a little bit about doing your speed dating.
Yeah.
Which I think is sick.
Yeah.
That's just a great way to meet people too. Do you feel like it's easy to tell within, I know you said you guys get to talk to each other for around 5 minutes, if somebody is being authentically themselves in a speed dating setting?
I think so. Cause like, again, like I guess in my head, and I've only done one speed dating segment. I want to do more, but I guess the way I'm approaching it is like, it's not that if conversation is flowing is what I'm judging. Because, you know, like some people may be a little more shy. They may be a little more reserved. You might just not know what to say. Like, I feel like that's kind of like an awkward situation
everyone's
to
on
be
the
in.
spot.
Yeah, everyone's on the spot. Like, you're kind of having the same conversations over and over again. It can get a little stale. I just think, again, the willingness to like, okay, like, let's like break it down. We don't have to, it doesn't have to be anything.
Yeah.
And I think like you can tell when people, especially like for me, like going on that speed date just the one time, the people who had like the canned bits, like the canned lines, like, haha, I just came here from them. Like, how many times have you seen this today? Like, totally. I could tell, like, and I actually like, I've been always, I'm very observant. I've always been obsessed with like people's, I guess say like boiler statements. Like, like, have you ever gone to like a restaurant and they're like, hey, my name is Donnie. Would you like to try this? Blah, blah, blah. Like, it's on our menu today for $4.99. Like, I've always been obsessed with like those like
You've said
scripts.
that to every single table.
Like, I'm like, and I listen. I'm like, oh, they're going for it. Word perfect. I guess that's maybe an actor in me too, just learning like
so
lines.
True.
But like, I don't like people like that. Like, at least in that setting. Like, I want, like, let's be natural. Like, let's do what makes sense. Let's kind of like lean into the conversation the way it's going, but also not trying to make it go anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, if it's happening, it's happening. If it's not, it's not.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. No, I think that's so. Like, I don't want you to have practiced this in the mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want you to like, I mean, and again, I think that is endearing. And maybe like, if the way that it's packaged, maybe I could be into it. But like, in general, I'm like honestly, like, people who get really nervous around people usually is not someone that like I am super attracted to. Just, and not because nervous people are like unattractive. It's just hard to get past that.
Yeah.
It's like, do the work to get past it, then we're good. Like, especially in 5 minutes. Totally. If you can't like get past, like, once we say our names to each other, but once we say our names to each other, where you're from, I'm from here, blah blah blah. If you're not comfortable in that setting, it's like, okay, well, this is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But if you're like, oh, I was nervous when I walked over here, but I feel a little better now that we've like talked a little bit more. I'd love to get to know you better. Perfect.
Did you go on this speed dating event? Did you know anybody else who was doing it?
Nope.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I literally actually. It was on MLK Day, and I had been doing nothing all day. My roommate made some cocktails, and I had like 2, and I was feeling a little spicy. And then I was scrolling on Instagram. I was like, oh, they're doing the speed dating thing. I'm going to go.
You decided that day?
Yeah, and I just went.
Incredible.
Yeah, I'm crazy.
You are a confident person.
I mean, in that, I guess, after 2 drinks, and after it's been on my mind, and... I guess without having dating apps too, like, you get a little bored. You're like, okay, what can I do right now to like kind of, I want to say satisfy myself, but like, you know, like, I think I've been so used to like scrolling and swiping,
100%,
and, like, always looking for something. That's been actually really nice to slow down, but also I didn't delete my dating apps because I don't want to date anyone. I just don't want to meet people that way.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I reminded myself, like, I can go on a date. I can go on a speed date. Like, that's fine. I just don't want to meet people online.
How long ago did you delete your apps?
My goal was to delete them by December 31st. So like, I kind of like what do you call it? Like, did it in segments where like first Tinder, then Hinge, then Bumble.
We're weaning off.
Yeah, I weaned off. Where then I was like, okay, now I'm done. And like, again, nothing against dating apps, or like, there were people who I had maybe consistent conversation with, and I let them know, like, hey, I'm going to delete my Tinder. So, like, if you want to exchange Instagrams, let's do it, because I'm not going to have this anymore. And I did that. So, honestly, I haven't. The one day TikTok went down, that was the day where I was, like, having some withdrawal of, like, just scrolling.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't scroll TikTok. I don't have Grindr to just scroll through. What am I doing? Like, I like almost like downloaded it again because I'm like, oh shit, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself. Totally. But I resisted, and then it came back the next day with all the praise for Trump.
Yeah, so, right. I know it's been achy on there ever since.
It's been a little. I will say, like, this. So this guy that I was dating, going on dates with currently, just loosely too, like nothing official or serious. But he actually kind of gagged me a little bit, because like, he was like, hey, how was your night? And I was like, I was up way later than I wanted to be. I was scrolling on TikTok. And he was like, how do you feel supporting an app that clearly censors the things that it wants you to see and targets algorithms politically? And I was like, oh, I didn't realize this was going to go this way.
Totally.
And I remember being like, I actually responded. I was like, honestly, I'm going to be real. I don't feel about it. It's not that I am not acknowledging it. I'm just not getting my political advice from TikTok.
Totally.
You know what I'm looking up on TikTok? Glee videos.
Yes, we're looking at compilations.
Videos. I'm looking at compilations. I'm looking at singing videos. I'm not, honestly, my algorithm, if anything, they are targeting people who I have the numbers in my phone. That's the people.
Yeah,
like my roommate.
They do that.
My roommate, I see him all the time. And I heard him record it in the bathroom, and now I see it on my TikTok. Like,
double time.
Those are the people who I see. I'm not on political talk. Sorry. So like I guess my thought process to him, I was like, I feel like people can make their own decisions and like what they want to do. Like at this point, the world is fucked. The world's on fire. There's no right or wrong way to do it, because honestly,
let me have my scrolling
whatever
time.
you're doing, it's probably fucked, because everything is fucked. Everything's corrupted. The government's doing whatever the fuck they want to do. LA's on fire.
There's no safe space.
Yeah, there's no safe space. Safe space, it doesn't exist.
No, it really
so
doesn't.
let me have my Glee videos on TikTok.
Totally.
Don't take that away from me.
I know, our last ounces of joy.
Yeah, that's the only thing I get from joy. I want to watch the Lea Michelle Can't Read compilation. I want to watch them.
We're trying to get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, I want to know the truth.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, how about your bad?
My bad. Honestly, working.
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to do that anymore.
We're
and
not
it's like,
cut out for that.
that's like so 2024. Like, I'm trying to move forward.
I completely
I'm
agree.
trying to be in the future. I just thought of my real bad as I was vamping for my but working is one. I was gonna say, like, and I guess in the realm of theater, like bad, like changing yourself. And I guess mine has a theme.
No, I love it.
Changing yourself to like fit a mold.
Yeah.
Like I think like that's bad. Like ill. Like actually I was watching a TikTok video yesterday, and it was this singer. His name is Joshua Henry, if you're familiar. And basically he was like baritone. He was a message to baritones, but I heard him loud and clear as a tenor as well. But he was like, baritones, listen up. They're not writing roles for us anymore. I'm in all the rooms. I'm doing all the workshops, and these roles don't exist. But you know what you have to do? You have to go make them. You have to be the ones like kind of creating the lanes that you want to be in. So I think it's like, again, going back to what we said earlier of just like, I think it's bad to like try to, especially, and I think in singing, that's what I'm thinking about specifically, because I've been doing like singing TikTok videos and everything, and like some of them work out better than others, some of them get more views than others.
I love that.
But like one of the things that's been happening is that like there's specific TikTok video that I posted which got a lot of views. I was actually really surprised, like, because like I just don't think my algorithms are like sending them to the masses, which they should. But like it got a lot of views, and one of the things that kept happening is that like they were comparing me to this other guy, and me in the positive way, like actually being like, you should be this role, not him. You should do this, not him.
Yeah,
like,
that's a compliment.
It's a compliment, but I'm like, why compare?
Yeah.
Like,
we don't have to bring another person down.
No, I was like, he's great. He's wonderful. And I'm like, honestly, I'm not trying to be like him, which is why I don't sound like him.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm not him.
Totally.
So I'm like, I'm glad that you like my version of this, but like also like, just realize that he's doing his own version too, and that's just as valid.
Yeah.
And just as good. And like taking that lesson into like life, or even in the work setting of like, I know I talk to my boss about it all the time, where like I can't work the way that other people work.
Oh,
especially
totally.
like in the field like mine, where I'm doing events and like working with producers and like trying to become a producer.
Yeah.
So I'm like, producer literally just means boss.
Totally.
So like, I'm just trying to be in charge of everything. I can't be in charge. I can't be under someone else and like doing the things that they want me to do. I want to be the leader.
Yeah.
Therefore, like I need to bring, like, literally right now, one of my biggest things in work is like, especially now that I have the opportunities to do it now, I'm like, I'm gonna level set for what I need.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
all I do. I'm gonna level set. I'm gonna be like, hey, this is where I want things done.
Yeah.
Like, even I talked to one of my coworkers today, and I did it lovingly, because like she's in a position I used to be in, like just like actual position wise, and like she's working on a show that I'm working with her on, and I was like, hey, like, can I give you some unsolicited advice, but I think it's gonna actually help you out, and you can say no, but like also like it's something I noticed, and I think like I wish someone told me this when I was this role. And she's like, what? And I was like, honestly, like, and I guess in my position at my job, I'm like, over communicate. I was like, honestly, I don't want to ask you something and then wonder if you did it. I'm like, girl, just loop me in.
Yeah.
And then she's like, and she did say like, hey, like my instinct is to loop you in, but then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna ignore him. I'm gonna do this. I'm like, no, like legitimately, we already had this conversation.
Totally.
It's just so much easier for me to be like, Sam did this because I saw that she did it.
Yeah.
Like,
and she came back and told me.
Yeah. I'm like, oh no, honestly, don't tell me. Just literally like my big, especially in corporate lingo, and I guess this all has a point. but like in corporate lingo, when you're just looping someone in, all you're doing is like checking the boxes for both of you.
Yeah.
So like
so
if
true.
I'm like, hey, like, can you order this thing, and you email someone like, hey, just talk to Donnie, I need to order this thing, blah 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 blah, and I'm CC'd on it. I'm like, oh, I saw it. I saw you did it. Check off my list.
Totally.
What I don't want to have to do is be like, hey, did you order
Follow
this
up
thing?
with you.
And especially if I just haven't heard back from it. But going back to the point of like, because she had that itch to do it because that's what she wanted to do, I'm like, follow those impulses.
Yeah,
like,
so
do
true.
what you like, be yourself.
You know.
Like, you know it. You know it in
Yeah.
your gut. Just follow your gut, because like that's gonna lead you the right way. And like, also I say, if you loop me in an email that I didn't want to be in, I would take myself off.
Yeah. Totally.
So like,
I have
don't
power
worry.
over that.
Yeah. So I'll be like, hey, you don't need to loop me in on this. But
Yeah.
like, let me say it to you. Like,
Yeah.
or even like going back to like working in general. I know like something that I was just talking to someone today too about is that they were applying for a job and they're like, I feel underqualified. Like, I don't know. And I'm like, let them tell you that.
Right.
Like,
So
you don't know
never
what they're
shoot
gonna
your own
want.
self in the
Yeah,
foot.
you don't know what they want, but you know
Yeah.
what you bring, and like just own it.
Yeah.
And then maybe they'll be like, well, this person is not the exact qualifications I want, but they're what we need.
Mm-hmm. Well, I feel like from even, now having 6, 7, 8 years working post college, I'm like, okay, there are so many people in positions that they genuinely aren't qualified for.
Yeah.
That like, if you think that you would enjoy a certain role or be good at something, you have to go for it. And I think, like you said, at the end of the day, just kind of being yourself, approaching it the way that you would authentically approach it is going to be the most valuable.
Yeah, not molding yourself to fit it. Just being, this is who I am.
Totally.
This is what I bring.
Yes.
Boom. I feel like you'll get more out of that.
Well, I think something that I've noticed too, this isn't true for all companies. I work for a relatively small agency and I work in social media marketing.
Okay.
But, I have started to see opportunities to carve out roles that like either better fit your strengths or are even sort of specially made for you. And like, I think the only way that you end up in a position like that is if you lay out all your cards.
Yeah.
Like you really have to be honest about what you are, what you like to do, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are.
You carve out your own lane, literally.
Totally.
And like, I think like that's where people should shoot themselves in the foot, kind of like underselling themselves. Because sure, you might not have 12 years in experience for an entry level position for social media marketing, but you have your own podcast and you know how to edit videos and edit audio.
So true.
I'm like, that's so valuable, and honestly, companies are gonna want to not to pay you for that, which is fine at first, and then you're like, hey, here's what I've done.
Right.
Now pay
you
me
prove
what
yourself.
Yeah, exactly, and then you'll get what you want. So
yeah,
that's like a little tidbit of wisdom.
Yeah, and I think that's true for creative endeavors, working, hobby projects,
friends.
Yeah, so true.
Yeah, you don't try to be someone else. Just be yourself.
No, please.
And then you don't, because most people, you're gonna learn who you don't want to be around based on who they are, and it's so easy. You stick out like a sore thumb if you're just like, they don't even like rock music. Why are they at this rock concert?
Right. I don't want to be the only one enjoying something.
No, I don't want to go. Literally, I'd rather go to like a theater show by myself and go with someone who doesn't want to be there with me.
Yeah, because they're people pleaser.
Why are you trying to go with me? Like, why are you yucking my yum? Let me go by myself.
So true.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what's your ugly?
My ugly is men.
Yes, I love it.
But like, honestly, I'm just over men in general.
No,
and I always include myself. Like, men are trash. Like, including me. And I'm working on myself, work in progress. But like, in general, just like, men are just such a waste of time. And like, they really don't provide much.
I'm gonna go ahead and say men do need to step it up.
They need to step it up, and like it's weird because like they're either doing too fucking much or not enough. Like, I went on this date with this. Well, I'm honestly, maybe it is me. Maybe I am the problem. I hung out with this guy. He wanted to go to my roommate's concert with me, and I said sure. And while we were there, and I will say, like, from the context we met on Tinder, but I deleted Tinder, so we're only friends on Instagram. And like for months though, like we really haven't talked that much.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I would post something about this concert or concerts, he will want to come, and I'm like, come, like it's a public venue. Also,
Right.
like I want people to support my friends.
Of
Like,
course.
come. So one day, like it was near his house. He's like, oh, I want to come, and I'm like, come. It's like free. Yeah, it was free that night. I'm like, you don't have to pay anything. Like, come out. So it was at Caracal Club here in Chicago. Very small place.
Mm-hmm.
And
I haven't actually been there yet.
It's really nice. I really enjoyed it. I really love the performance venue of it and everything like that. But I went to pick him up because it was really cold outside that day. So I was like, hey, I can pick you up. And he was on the way to Caracal Club. So I picked him up, and then we went to the venue and we got drinks, and we're just literally standing because there's a small bar and nowhere to stand. So it was me, our friend Mackenzie, Adam, this guy, my friend Ben, and like some other people. And he just kept fucking touching me. And I'm like in an annoying way. Like I understand like the touch test. When you ever been on a date where like you move their arm closer to you, and then move your arm closer, and they're like, okay, that's for him to do more.
Totally.
I was doing the opposite. He moved close to me. I'm like, it's
not being well received.
Yeah, because also like we hadn't really had talked about that. It was, I guess we met on Tinder, and I guess I can understand if someone got the wrong impression.
Sure.
At first.
Yeah.
Like if I'm giving you clear signals, like you should listen. So like, I was getting actually very annoyed with just like because like he was like touching me and he started rubbing my back, and I'm like moving away from him, like puts his head on my shoulder. Mind you, we're standing up, like we're not even sitting down. Like so it's like just doing too much. And like afterward I was like, hey, so I didn't even tell him there because I really like was gonna be cognizant of like this might get awkward real fast. So I'm like, stop fucking touching. Like if I just like
we're making a scene.
So like I'm like, it's fine. I'll deal with that. I kind of moved away from him. I like kind of put Adam in between me and him, and it was fine. So after the night was over, again I was trying to be nice. I like took him back home because I picked him up, like which I think is a nice thing to do. Like if you brought someone somewhere, and like he dropped him off, and then before I even pulled off from his house, I like, and mind you, like 3 minutes from Caracal Club, that was the most time we had to talk there and back. So 6 minutes in total. Then we go to a concert where it's loud music playing.
Totally.
And then we leave and have 3 more minutes to talk. So I was like, hey, I messaged him on Instagram. Hey, sorry if I gave you the wrong impression, but I just have to like, I want to just speak up for myself, saying like, you made me super uncomfortable with how you kept touching me, and I kept giving you very clear signs not to touch me, and like it just felt a little obnoxious. So like in the future, like we don't have to make this a big deal, but like just like respect my boundaries. Like if I'm visibly not feeling something, don't try to force me in it.
Let's use our context clues.
Exactly. So his response, like, this is why I'm like, men are fucking trash. I fucking hate them. He's like, sorry, when I get anxious, I get touchy. And I was like,
what am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah. Also, I'm like, firstly, what a cop-out answer. You're never taking like accountability for what you did, or like, and again, not even a big deal, but now it's pissing me off. Just just be like, yo, I thought we're on a date.
Totally.
My bad. I didn't even like.
Again, it comes down to authenticity.
Yeah, just be yourself. Like, be like, yo, I forgot, or I didn't realize something. But like him saying that just really, because it just felt like an excuse.
Well, and then it becomes also a little bit of like victim mentality. Like,
yeah, it's like, so it's my fault that you felt. Yeah. So that's kind of how I felt. I read it that way, and I didn't respond. And it was like 2 hours later, he responded like, yeah, maybe I did get the wrong impression. And I'm like, honestly.
You think?
And I was like, honestly, that even irritated me more.
Totally. It's too late now.
So literally, I was like, hey, I'm going to be real. If this was your first response, I would have been like, yes. Because it's your second, and because you literally had to think about why I didn't respond to your fucking first message, just says a lot. I was like, I don't really want to talk anymore. I don't want to be friends. Come to concerts if you want. I don't give a fuck. Yeah. Just like leave me alone.
We're not enemies, but I'm all set.
Yeah, again, like, I'm like, that says everything. And like, I will say, like, I do understand, like, I put him in an environment where maybe he did think it was a date.
Sure.
But honestly, even if it was a date, if I don't want you all over me,
I think it's fair. Just about reading the signs.
Yeah, that's fair. Even if it was like, actually, I even consider myself where like there was one day with this guy that I actually had hooked up with before. So like we've kissed, we like hold hands, we did all the things, everything. And we went to see The Greatest Showman, and we're sitting, and he puts his arm around me, so I put my hand on his leg, and he literally like takes my hand, lifts it off, and gives it back to me, and I'm like, you got it.
Totally.
You got it. Totally. Got it. Heard.
Clocked.
I didn't try to put my hand back.
Yeah,
I didn't like, you put your arm around me, I put your, no, I'm like, you don't like that.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Well, and that's one of those things where it's like, just because consent is given once doesn't always mean it's going to be given the next time.
It's not a spiral. But yeah, I think men are trash, and that's the ugly. Like, men are ugly.
No, I get it. I feel like it is a hard time politically, socially, spiritually to be dating men.
Yeah.
For anyone involved.
Yeah.
So they don't make it easy for us.
Yeah.
I feel like we're giving them the clues. We're giving them honestly all of the puzzle pieces. They have the map to the treasure.
Exactly.
You guys have it. Let's just kind of follow
the leader.
Yeah,
we're leading you.
We're
literally leading you. Just like listen and like open your eyes up and like let's not do too much.
Yeah.
But let's not do too little.
Right.
Like,
it's all about balance.
Happy medium. Like be Goldilocks.
Yeah.
Like just get the one that's just right.
I know.
So yeah, that's my ugly. Really have much more to say on them. Men.
No, I get it.
But also still looking for men.
For love.
So that has nothing to do with the authenticness of my heart.
No, I love it. That's so real.
It's so real.
Okay, well, my last question for you is your hater mode activated today?
Hater mode activated? Hell yes. I've been a hater all day. And I think I'm going to continue being a hater.
I love it.
I'm never going to quit.
Well, as soon as when I sent you my initial, like, okay, plan for your good, bad, ugly, I love that you were like, oh, no worries, I can make it spicy.
Yeah.
I was like, you are born and bred for this.
Yeah, it's so funny because I said that and I forgot.
No,
and then when we sat back on the couch, I'm like, wait, what is good, bad, and ugly?
Yeah.
Like, let me look, because like I'm so distracted today by so many things. So
no, I get it. Well, and now you have your game that you have to participate in this evening.
I guess we didn't even talk about that.
I know.
At all, but yeah, like that's been my hater mode activated. I think it was honestly, as we were sitting here talking about like being authentic, and like I was like, maybe I was a little too hot. Like maybe I need to go back and make some apologies to like you know what, I was very irritated in the moment, and I probably shouldn't have said anything in this moment.
I will say those kinds of strategy based games are the one place where sometimes forced inauthenticity does help you get ahead.
It does. I should shut my mouth and not say too much, even if I am feeling it.
Totally.
But also like in games like that, I think what's hard to balance, and like we're just talking about reality shows in general, but like specific game that I'm playing on Discord was a reality based game. Like you almost have the balance of like there's one strategy that I love in a recent game that I played. Is like this person was very upfront, not bullshitting people, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Totally.
Sometimes it's not as nice though. Sometimes it's not like,
well, not everybody appreciates honesty.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm like. I think the last time I played, I was too nice. Like I was too like always thinking about other people's feelings and like not saying the things I want to say. And I'm like, this time I just want to do it differently, which I understand that if people read that the wrong way, and it could get me voted out or whatever. So but I'm like, I literally, everyone I like reached out to today, I literally was like, hey, I know about this and I didn't like being kept in the dark. I'm not upset. It's a game. And I literally said that every time, which
I love it.
Could be scary to be like, I'm not upset. It's a game, but fuck you for doing this.
Totally.
But I'm like, but I just wanted to be honest. I literally was like, this is very clear. Let's not bullshit.
Honesty is always
Let's just be honest. Like I saw what you did and I didn't like that. And I'm sorry that I'm approaching this way, but I didn't like that you did this.
Totally.
And that's okay. And if I get anything that happens to me in life, but specifically in this game, get voted out for being me. Hey.
So true. And that's on being authentic.
And that's on being authentic.
Well, and it's tonight an elimination round? No. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, probably.
Okay, so tomorrow will be a more stressful day. Hater mode
unless
can maintain activation.
Yeah, I will say like because of elimination tomorrow, maybe I should go apologize to people.
Okay.
For just my
beg for forgiveness.
Actually, one of the production members called me out a little bit because there was this girl where she was like, "Can we start over?" and I messaged my partner because it's a duos game. I was like, can we fucking start over? Are you joking? And he was like, wait, why are you mad? And I was like, because she didn't do this. And he was like, well, you did this to her. And I was like, yeah, but I didn't have the intention of doing this. And he was like, well, I don't think she did either. And I was like, well, but I did actually talk to her about it. She did not talk to me about it.
So true.
And I was like, but
the two situations are not the same.
Let me feel my oats. Let me be mad. Yeah. I want to be mad right now. Yeah. Let me get this out so then I don't have to be mad to other people.
Absolutely.
But you're bringing in my production chat that your opinions makes me want to just go talk to other people about it. So yeah.
Well, anyway. And I feel like that is literally the reason I started this podcast is I need somebody to just, if I'm venting at you, you just have to listen. Yeah, I actually don't want you to say anything back.
Yeah, I think one of my most effective like communication styles that I've learned that works is that ask people. So like if I'm like coming to vent to you or you come to vent to me and I'm like, do you want a response? Do you want my advice?
Yes.
Do you just want me to listen? Do you want me to I just think that like context is important.
Because everybody does have a different way they want.
Yeah, because then like if you don't want my advice, I'm not even going to be sitting here trying to respond.
Totally.
Or, like trying to make you feel like, oh yeah, I get you. Yeah, when I was 5 and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I don't want that. I just want you to listen. Yeah. Or sometimes you're like, hey, this is a tricky situation. Am I the bad guy? Am I the asshole? I need some perspective. But also like, be honest. I don't want you to give me like what you think I want to hear.
Yes.
I want you to give me what you feel, which is why I'm asking.
So true.
So yeah, I agree. So this has been a nice platform to just talk some crap.
Hell yes.
I don't know if we talk that much crap, but like anyone can get it is usually what I'm like. I can talk crap.
You can come back on anytime you want.
Anytime. If I have something to say, I will say it.
Please
So yeah, like if I ever have a spicy day, I'm like, Sam.
Yes.
Let's put it on the podcast.
Literally. No, this was so fun.
This is so fun. I love this.
Amazing. Great. Well, thank you for joining us. And you guys, thank you for listening. We'll be back next week. Bye.
Bye.